let me ask you this though, Gary, because for the leader listening right now who says, well, Gary, it's clear that I'm sure I have some trauma in my past that is triggering in my present
Yeah.
and will likely continue to trigger unless I pinpoint this and release it using your frameworks. Once they identify, okay, this event in my past was traumatic for me and I believe it's still living with me today, is there something that you can give us now that will help somebody to alleviate that trauma or release that trauma?
This would probably have to be a longer podcast show for
Like,
me.
what do you do once you pinpoint what that event was?
See, if I go in and explaining what the process is, which I'm happy to do, but it works with 3 different techniques. Okay. So the accumulation of it is the eye pattern scramble. So one of the things, there's 6 points to the eye pattern chart in NLP. 2 points lateral with the eyes, 2 points above the eyes, 2 points below the eyes. When people are looking up, they're searching for visual images.
Yeah.
When they look laterally, they're searching for sounds. When they look down, they're searching for feelings. This is why when you talk to someone and you ask them a question, their eyes will do something like this. They'll go.
They're recalling information or constructing an image or
Exactly.
going within.
The
Yes.
eyes grow out of cerebral cortex as embryos, deeply connected to the central nervous system. So when the eyes are moving, they're activating the central nervous system. Get a memory right now for me, Brandon, like a happy, happy memory.
Okay.
Notice where your eyes went.
Yes. Yes. I was seeing a picture. Yes.
That's exactly right. And so your memory, the only way you know you're you is by the pictures, sounds, and feelings that constitute the representation of that memory. When your eyes move, it's like a combination to a safe. It brings that memory back in its full representation. Now, these are all survival techniques that we're biologically meant to do. Because if we can recall danger from the past and bring it forward, then we know either to fight or flight, and we have some sort of strategy to help us cope. That's how we learn and survive in the world.
Yeah.
So when the eyes are moving, that's what they're doing. They're sorting for the information. Now, all of the events that enter your nervous system, including the traumatic ones, have an eye pattern strategy, a sequence that unlocks them in its full representation.
Wow.
So if you want to begin to make one tiny movement with it, you want to be able to get a slight feeling of whatever that trauma was and move your eyes in completely random directions to the 6 points of the eye pattern chart.
Wow.
Now, there's other techniques that are really important as well, and I'll just share that. The other techniques are you sit down with a pen and paper and you write out all the best things that's ever happened to you. Like, I'll give you an example. You don't have to even write them down. All you have to do is recall them. So times that you were loved, times that you felt loved, times that you gave love, times that you did things you didn't think you could do, but you did them, times you almost fell down laughing, times you were inspired by nature, times that you felt close to whatever you consider God to be for you. And you recall 3 to 4 of those times for each one of those questions until you kind of get this little bump of energy, right? Because if you're thinking about all the great things and you're running those internal representations, you're going to bump up your energy.
Yeah.
Right? And then you ask yourself, if all these great things in my life could be represented by a color, what color would they be? If they could be represented by a symbol, what symbol would they be? If they could be represented by a sound, what sound would they be? And if they could be represented by a smell, what smell would they be?
Are you anchoring those great experiences?
Yeah. Now notice I'm kind of duplicating the 5 senses, right?
Yeah.
So then there's 2 parts. You scramble up the combination that traumatic event entered your nervous system. Einstein said imagination is more important than intellect. So the subconscious mind, 90% of you, infinite power within you, that no one can calculate its power, takes vivid sensory specific imagination as reality. That's why you can go to a movie, watch bad actors with bad scripts and horrible sets, and go home and check under your bed because you want to make sure Jason's not there, right? You're in total imagination, but your nervous system goes, wow, that's real, right?
Yeah.
So what we want to be able to do is we want to reimagine the internal representation of that traumatic event. Wow. So we're scrambling up our eyes, we're scrambling up how that event entered our nervous system. And then you use the power of your imagination and flood it with the color. You bolt on, in your imagination, bolt on billions of symbols of whatever symbolize the best things. Permanently affixed, can't be removed. And you do this over and over again.
Yeah.
And then you hear the sounds that would represent the best experiences of your life. And then you breathe in the smell of the best experiences of your life. So you have to focus. Being facilitated is much more preferable, but you asked, so I'm delivering for you.
You are, and I appreciate it because you're going deep, and I love that.
But when you're able to use your mind, the discipline of your mind to reimagine the event in the colors, bolted on symbols, the sounds of the best things that's ever happened to you, and breathe in the smell of the best things that represent all the good things that's happened to you. And you overlay it over that internal representation of the trauma. You positively contaminate and collapse the visual anchor or the visual representation. You flood it with the best things that's ever happened to you, and you reimagine it and reimagine it and reimagine it, simultaneously still moving your eyes.
Wow.
When you do that, you can actually begin to make tremendous progress in lessening the impact of really terrible things that's happened to you.